Welcome to the Magdalene Voices, giving voice to those silenced for centuries through sacred conversations with beautiful, illuminating souls. I'm your host, spiritual business coach, mentor, catalyst, and facilitator, Mariaestela. I serve soul-driven, heart-based entrepreneurs, Magdalene's rising and radiant beings just like you with the expansion and growth of yourself and your business, aligning you with your deep inner truth, bringing to life that which you're here to birth, and expressing your soul's divine purpose through your being and your doing in this world. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to join my sacred circle to stay connected and updated. You can do so on my website, mariaestela.com, where you can also find the previous episodes as well as their show notes. And if you have ever wondered about your Magdalene connection and calling, and whether you are a Magdalene, I invite you to download the Magdalene Blueprint I have created for you. Go to mariaestela.com/AYM to get it. Hello, Radiant One, and a very big and a very, very warm welcome to this final episode of what has now become season 1 of the Magdalene Voices. I am thrilled that you found your way here, and I want to start this episode off by sharing my deep gratitude for having walked with me through this season. When I first started the Magdalene Voices, it was a nudge and a calling from within that kind of called me in, as it does, and I may have thought that I had an idea of what was going to happen, but truth be told, I have again and again and again been overwhelmed by joy and gratitude as I have sat with the most amazing radiant beings in sacred conversations, and I don't think there's ever been one conversation where I haven't left it feeling so blessed and so grateful for being able to do what I do. This episode is basically just, I wouldn't say short, but it's going to be my have fun for now episode. The Magdalene Voices is going to take a break, a summer break. We're on the Northern Hemisphere, or I am on the Northern Hemisphere, and summer has hit us. So I'm going to be taking a break from the Magdalene Voices. And when I say break, I'm laughing because, when something is a calling, I'm not sure that there is ever a break. So I have already, even though this is the final episode of season 1, I've already recorded actually many episodes for season 2, and I have also I've also started thinking about what will how would it evolve and what will happen with season 2. But before I dive into that, because I've got a few notifications or things I want you to know about, things that are going to be happening. But first of all, I want to take a moment to really honor and acknowledge all of the teachers and the scholars and the mystics and the witches and the priestesses and the people, the Magdalenes, who showed up for these sacred conversations and were willing to join me in sacred conversation. Without them, there wouldn't have been a Magdalene Voice, and there wouldn't have been the Magdalene Voices, and it wouldn't have come to 22 or almost 23 episodes. When I started the Magdalene Voices, as I said, it was a calling and a nudge, and I have repeatedly been surprised when I've reached out to people and they've said almost yes immediately. That to me has been the most, I wouldn't say rewarding, but it's been the most acknowledging, or the most encouraging is probably the right word. Encouraging for me to keep going, and for me to know that this actually has a place in the world. And I would be, it would be a shame to miss out on you, because you have showed up, you have listened, and you have sent me your comments, you have shared. And for that, I am eternally grateful, because I truly believe that what I share and what the world share, or not the world, but what the teachers have shared, and the mystics, and all the people that have been part of this shares, is important. And the more that we can spread the kind of depth and insight, wisdom, knowledge, and experience, but most of all, the more that we can share the very important message of the truth lies within you, and no matter how much information or wisdom or knowledge you seek in the world, there is really there's no parallel, or no one more important than the voice that you carry within you, your source, your inner teacher, your guide. So thank you for that. The Magdalene Voices will be back with season 2 on August 10th. And as I said, I have already begun shooting episodes for season 2. So I'm very, very excited to be sharing those with you. There is going to be a slight change in the format, but I will share more about that when I come back after my break, because I want to deepen into it and allow myself to be guided by my teachers and my guides. However, there is one thing that I feel is very important to mention, and that is at the core of my work is the merging of our divine feminine and our divine masculine essences. That's part of the whole reason I started the Magdalene Voices, was because, and still today is, I see the rise of the divine feminine, and that is important. It is necessary, and I am all for it. However, what I've also noticed is that with the rise of the divine feminine, we as human beings, and here I'm not talking about genders because it's not gender related, we as human beings have been so used to the way of what I call the shadow masculine aspects of ourselves, in our way of doing and in our way of expressing. And so the way of the divine masculine, the way of building, of empowering, of kind and loving and caring compassion has I wouldn't say been lost, but we don't know how to quote unquote do. And so I see that with the rise of the divine feminine, there comes a time for each and every one of us where doing the way that we've been used to doing, we cannot continue doing that way. It doesn't resonate with us. It's not aligned. It feels out of place. It feels off. And it's because it is. And so for me, with the Magdalene Voices, my intention has always been to inspire both the going within, but it's certainly also been the to inspire action in the form of expressing your soul's divine purpose, whether that be in your business or in your life. It doesn't really matter if you're a soulful entrepreneur or not, but there is a satisfaction, there is a fulfillment, there is a joy in living your truth, whether you are a financial banker, or you are an architect or a graphic designer. There is a deep satisfaction that comes from living aligned with your truth. And so for me, the alignment of that comes through, first of all, the activation of your divine feminine, your gnosis, your wisdom, really sensing her and allowing her to guide you. And then comes the expression, the building, the doing with your divine masculine. And as I said, what I notice is that there is a lot of people who seem to be, I wouldn't say lost, but they're they're not really finding their way. And so one of the things that I'm going to be offering come not the fall but after summer is there's going to be a monthly membership club called the Magdalene Rising. The Magdalene Rising was actually what started the Magdalene Voices. It was a precursor. It was a word that I heard during or before a conversation with some friends. I kept hearing the word the Magdalene Rising, and I had no clue at the time. This was 2 years ago. I had no clue at the time what that was. Right now, it's formed into, there is a mastermind for soulful entrepreneurs, but I've also been wanting to do more in terms of if you're not a soulful entrepreneur, but you're simply wanting to deepen your path, and this is when I say deepen, I mean deep in the way that this is not spiritual light. It's not. We're not going to skirt on the surface of things. We're going to go deep. And so the Magdalene Rising monthly membership is going to be, you're going to be hearing more about that as I get more information on it. I just wanted to let you know that there is going to be an opportunity to join me even closer in circle. One of my intention with the Magdalene Voices was also to give a different perspective on the stories of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, and I can see throughout the season that has really come forth. And again, I am so grateful, and I want to say that is something that is going to continue with season 2. We're going to be diving into the stories about them even further and more. So I think that is it for now. So I wanted to just, reiterate and say thank you for having listened to these episodes, and thank you for sharing them. I know that many souls across the globe are, they're waking up, and they're ready to lead with their hearts, lead with love, ready to deepen into their the expression of their soul's divine purpose, but also into the divine feminine, and have her marry their divine masculine. And perhaps I should say, I think this may be obvious, but there's also going to be there is also the shadow aspects of that. So this was the final episode of season 1. And as I mentioned, season 2 will be back on August 10th of 2018. So until then, let me just again say I love you, and take care. That is what we have for you in today's episode of the Magdalene Voices. I hope it served you well. If you are listening to this via podcast, know that you can go to my website, Mariaestela.com. That's Mariaestela.com for all of the deeds and the details. Finally, I hope you will take a moment to either leave us a comment or review and share it with your friends on social media. God bless.